Hi everyone. It is National Awkward Moment Day. Awkward moments. So the check-in question is, what is the awkwardest moment slash thing that's happened to you? Which I know it's kind of hard to tell awkward stories via chat, but if you've got an awkward story, I'd love to hear it. Um, I don't know if this is a thing. Is awkward turtle still a thing? I know it was a thing when I was like in high school, but it's been a long time. Do y'all know what awkward turtle is? Never heard of it. Okay, get ready because this is the blast from the past. You know when you're like standing in a circle with your friends and like everybody's like having a good time. I know it's been like a year since this has happened to you, but I promise y'all remember this is happening. Like you're in a circle with your friends and then all of a sudden for like some reason it gets quiet and like no one knows what to say, or someone says something and everyone's just kind of like looking at them like, bro, what? Right? Um, when that happens and it's like awkward, what happens is someone puts their hands on top of each other like this so that they like line up, and then you move your move your thumbs like this. It's called awkward turtle. And then someone's like, ooh, awkward turtle. And then everyone does it, right? And it like breaks the tension. And so that's what this dude is doing here. I was like laughing because I haven't thought about awkward turtle in like 10 years, but then I realized it's National Awkward Moments Day. Like we need to bring that back, right? Like you're standing around and you're just like, ooh, awkward turtle. Like someone says something like lame. um, yeah. So, anyways, fun moment, fun moment. What do y'all do when it's awkward? You're just like, that's awkward. What do you think? Good morning. Good morning, Miss Flores. Miss Flores, I don't know if you're there. If you're there, do you remember Awkward Turtle? Did you do Awkward Turtle?
I did not.
I think I'm too old, Miss Flores. Anyways, I just informed everyone about the awesomeness of Awkward Turtle. When you're just like standing around with your friends and it's like suddenly awkward for some reason, and someone just puts their hands like this and goes, Awkward Turtle. And then everyone laughs and breaks the tension. It's pretty good. So, anyways, y'all can do it. Or you can just continue to be like, awkward. Anyways, there's some fun moments in there. If you know JR, yeah, it might be a non-California thing. I don't know. Or it could just be an I'm old thing. That's also possible too. Like it could just be something that used to happen. Like this dude probably is about my age, which is also awkward. Anyways, on that note, let's take some attendance. I feel like this is the classic awkward face. So I pulled Jim from the office. It is Jared's birthday. Um, so we are super pumped to celebrate Jared's birthday. If you know him or if you're friends with him, reach out and tell him happy birthday. It's also Alfredo V's birthday later on this weekend. So want to shout out him too before we get started. Thank you to this person who's telling me that I'm practically 23 and I'm not even old. I really appreciate that, but that is a lie. I'm almost 30. I turned 30 like in 2 months, so I'm old. I mean, not as old as I could be, but I'm definitely turning 30. So it's fine. It's fine. Here we go. All right. On that awkward note, let's move to our announcements. Announcements for today are very similar. Last week in week 10, or sorry, this week we're in week 10. Last Tuesday we did PT1. We had an amazing turn in rate. Amazing, amazing. I was super proud of you. So great job. I can tell like that end of the quarter push, we're making it happen. And today we're going to do PT2, which will be very similar to PT1. Okay. Week 11, that's next week, we'll have 2 more assignments. They'll both be PT. And they will both be awesome. So we'll make that happen. Modules are closing for my class on Friday, and that made me think, I wonder if everybody knows when their other classes are closing. So let me go ahead and show you some module closures. So these English is your first. We tried to like spread them out a little bit as much as we could while giving you as much time as we could. So if you are in English, um, I know you all are in English. So in English, your deadline is Wednesday. In history, physics, and Spanish, your deadline is Thursday. And in math, your deadline for my class is Friday. Math is Friday. And I put this up here that we're team no C's. If you have any C's right now, I think that it would be really awesome to turn them into B's. Here's why. A 3 in your GPA, which is what a B is, a 3 is like way mathematically better than a 2, right? Like the cutoff for like the cutoff for lots of different programs is 3.0 or at least 2.8, and that means you have to have mostly 3. So we want to be team no C's in this situation. So if you're sitting on that C plus line, C plus is the worst possible grade for your GPA because in many GPAs, it just counts as 2 points where you almost have 3 points, but instead you only got 2. So if you have any C's, you want to make sure you're turning in all of your missing work before these deadlines. So English on Wednesday, history, physics, Spanish on Thursday, and math on Friday. Yes, Miss Yamanaka is also reminding you to have that we do have office hours today. She'll be going over assignments 30 through 33. So if you missed that last week or two, so 30 through 33, do show up. It'll be awesome, Amira, is this an awkward story? In the 10th grade, the first day of school, I went to the wrong history class because I saw my friends in that class. Turns out there were 2 history teachers. We were sitting in the wrong class for 10 minutes until you noticed you were sitting in a class full of 11th graders. Oh no, Amira, that is awkward turtle. That's totally awkward turtle. It's funny. I love it. Thank you for sharing that, Amira. All right. Speaking of, we only had a few people who need to turn in PT1, but there are a few. If you turned it in last night, shout out to you. You'll still be on this list because I did not, well, I was not working super late last night. So that is what is up with PT1. I've got another awkward story. One time I was working with a PT group in a different grade and didn't realize it until the end of the Zoom call. Oh my goodness. Ay. That is you know, the story for the times. It's an awkward turtle story. I love it. All right, let us jump in. We are going to jump into our PT2 here in just a moment. I wanted to highlight some awesome notes that I saw from PT1 because some people were like, Miss, how long do my notes have to be? And I was like, they have to have all the information, which, you know, that's an okay way to say things, but I want to be able to make sure that everybody knows what great notes look like. So I loved these notes. I loved that there was bolding here. I also really liked that Angela, she put when 18 person has to be super responsible for either credit or debit card, right? Like that was not in the notes. We talked about that, but that was not on the slide, right? So I love that Angela was adding in details that were being talked about, right? Just like how Mr. Langdon wants you to do that as well. Like not all the information is on the slides. I want you to write down what we're talking about as well, okay? So you can type them. I also liked that this one, they use bold and underline. That's awesome. If you're writing on paper, like JR, happy birthday, JR. If you're writing on paper, you can also do the same thing by underlining on your paper, right? So I thought that this was a really good version of a written out version. And then I thought these people went really, really above and beyond, right? Above and beyond. So just like using their highlighting, there's numbering here in the typed version. And then here, Imani did the same thing using highlighting with the written out version. So 2 amazing examples. 2 amazing examples of great notes. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and send you straight to this guy here. So everybody can go ahead and head to this website, head to PT Task 2 and make a copy, please. Go ahead and head there right now. I see a few of you popping in there. That's great. Go ahead and make a copy, and then you can get off of mine. Go ahead and make that copy. I'm really excited today. We're talking about budgeting and saving because y'all were asking me about that last week, or last Tuesday. Awesome. Go ahead and make that copy. Sweet. Hello, welcome. So glad you're here. Make a copy of this guy. And then pop an R in the chat or an emoji in the chat when you are ready. When you're ready, let me know. Thanks, Melanie. Thanks, Sebastian. Thanks, Miliano. Thanks, Roxana. Love that emoji. Thanks, Amira. Awesome. Let me throw this poll to you. Timing. Are you ready to go? Are you ready? You should see a poll. When you're ready, go ahead and tap that ready button. All right. Looking great. Thank you. Take that minute. Let's do it. Once you have a copy, you can decide if you are going to write on paper. Cool. Love it on paper. If you're going to take a screenshot of something, cool. I don't know why you're going to take a screenshot, but all right. If you're going to write like a separate document for your notes and link it in, or if you're just going to type in this box, I'd say typing in the box is probably the easiest one, right? No reason to make it too challenging on yourself. But if you do like writing it down, feel free to write it on paper. I'm going to set up our notes here. You do have access to these slides. So if you need to open them up, you totally can. All right, it's been 1 minute. We're going to jump in. All right, friends. Today we are talking about budgeting and saving. I would say that that is the title of our notes today. Remember that just because something is on my paper does not mean that you need, just because something is on my screen doesn't mean you need to write every single word. And there are fancy boxes now at the top of each page that tell you if you need to, if this is like a notes page or if we're just talking about it in class. So for example, this one is a red box right here. It says listen in class, no notes on this page, right? So right now, when you see our red box, you don't need to take notes on that page. If you see a green box like this, you do want to take notes. It says take notes on this, okay? So helping you out there. Roxana, do you have a question? Slash, are you lines? Are you happy about my boxes? Hopefully. Okay. Today, by the end of the lesson, we are hoping that we're going to answer some of these questions that you had last week when you filled out your form. So what can I use to keep track of my money? Great question. Is there a way to determine what I need and what I want? We're going to work on doing some of those. We're going to need some help to do that. How can I teach myself to budget my money? Right? Great question. And how do I properly manage my money? For sure. So we're going to talk about budgeting and saving 101. Here we go. All right. The biggest thing to do when you are budgeting or saving is to pay yourself first, right? That's the mentality that we're going to go into, right? We want to save our money, right? That's what I mean by paying ourselves, right? You're going to pay your future self some money every single time you get money. So there are two major words here. The first one is budgeting, right? So budgeting is making a plan to decide how you're going to spend your money for the month. Most of the time we plan budgets on a monthly basis, okay? It's meant to be in advance. We don't want to like look at how much we spent and then be like, oh, that's my budget. That's not how budgets work. Budgets are plans for the future on how we want to spend our money so that we have enough for this and enough for this and enough for that other thing, right? It also makes sure that you don't run out of money, right? Because when you hit a budget, right? So if I have a food budget for the month, right? I am very careful every week that I don't spend too much, because that means that by the end of the month, I won't have money for food. That would be terrible. I'd be starving. I'd be not a very nice person. I get very hangry, right? So I have to be very careful that I don't overspend on my food budget. So budgeting is a part of that. A part of budgeting is saving. And saving is the income, the money that comes in that is not spent, right? You reduce your spending a little bit. You have that little extra chunk of change at the end of the month. That is saving. You can do it through different things. You can do it through a bank, right, where you put your money in a savings account. You can also invest it, and we'll be talking about investments next week. But you can also invest it into some type of fund. Okay, so some basic understanding here. Okay, we're going to do a few pieces of vocabulary here, right? So a part of your budget or a part of your savings is called an emergency fund, right? An emergency fund. It's money saved in case of an emergency, right? You never know when your car is going to go out, or maybe you might lose your job, or something might happen where you're not able to pay for the things that you're normally able to pay for. So the first kind of like savings that you want to build is called an emergency fund. It's supposed to have about 3 to 6 months of expenses. So basically, like if you couldn't work for 3 to 6 months, you would still be okay. You'd still be able to pay your rent. You'd still be able to like feed yourself. You'd still be able to feed the people that you're in charge of. So an emergency fund is the money that you save for an emergency. So we have an emergency fund, right? We also have flexible expenses, right? So flexible expenses are like monthly expenses that can sometimes either like be changed or can be reduced or be added. So an example like this is something that you need, but that can change. So something like groceries, right? Do you spend the same amount of money every single time you go to the grocery store? Think about it. If you go with your family, if you go to the grocery store on your own, do we always spend like exactly the same amount of money? Yeah, no, we don't, right? Like we spend like maybe this amount this time and another amount the next time, right? So that is called a flexible expense. Things that you still need, you have to have groceries, you got to eat, right? But you don't always spend the same amount, right? You don't always spend the same amount. So, and then finally, we have one of our big questions was needs versus wants. Needs versus wants. So needs, can someone tell me a definition of needs? Like when I say I need this thing, what do I mean when I say I need it? How do we tell when we need something? Oh yeah, these are some things that we need. How can we tell? So needs are things that are essential, right? Things that we need. Like I cannot go on living without this thing, right? Wants, things that can be that I can wait for, right? Like I really want a new pair of Air Jordan, but I am gonna wait because I don't need to spend that much money on shoes right now, right? I love these things that we're putting in the chat. This is leading perfectly into some things. I want you to go ahead and think about the last 3 things that you bought. The last 3 things that you bought, or the last 3 things that you paid for. And I want us to figure out if they are needs or wants. Needs or wants. So let's think, what can somebody throw out some needs? I saw some in the chat already. The water bill, for sure. The gas bill, for sure. The electricity, for sure. Food, for sure. Water, we got it. Internet, yeah, for sure, Jasmine. Rent, we need like shelter, right? For sure. What kind of food is in need? What kind of food is in need? Like, do I need to go to a fancy restaurant? I'm sorry, I cut someone off. What is that?
Like bread, milk, eggs, the basic stuff.
Bread, milk, eggs, basics, for sure. Thank you.
It should always be healthy as well.
Yeah, we can definitely like hope for some healthy food, although sometimes healthy food can be really expensive. For sure. Healthy food. For sure. That's the goal, right? Is to like meat. I'm seeing like veggies, meat, like home food, cereal, fruit. These are also all awesome ideas. I'm not going to type them all in here, but I love those ideas.
Hey, miss.
Uh-huh.
To me, I wouldn't get as beef because, like, it's like it digests like slower than any other meat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right. So there are like some types of meat, and right. And when we're at the grocery store, we can make those decisions for ourselves, right? My boyfriend loves beef. So like he might from time to time have some beef. But Moses might choose like, no, I'm not gonna choose beef because it doesn't digest well. Right. So you can make those decisions for yourself within that need category. Is there anything else up here that is like needed? Maybe some like basic clothing, right? Basic clothing, like you got to have clothes to wear, that's for sure. Maybe like your uniform for school. Anything else? A needed banana bread. Yes, potentially. Insurance. Yep, I'm seeing insurance. I love that. Insurance, super duper important and needed. All right, what are some things we want? This is the fun one. What are some things that are wants, but we don't necessarily need them? What are some wants? New phone, for sure. Jewelry, shoes, like shoes, right? I feel like that's a huge one. Ice cream or junk food, yeah. Let's think about some that we've had recently. Maybe for you it's Starbucks. I know we got some coffee fans in here. Yes. Last spending your last $15 on LED lights. I hear that. Kind of regret it. Yep. That's a thing. Sunglasses, maybe. Home Depot. Maybe some things at Home Depot if you really get excited. Video games, right? Like lashes and nails. I know for some of us we spend a lot of money there. Go ahead,
PC.
Moses. What is it?
PC.
Oh yeah, new like computer, PC, like all kinds of stuff. Makeup, lashes, nails. Like yeah, like there are some things, right? Like if rubber came to the road, like we did not need to buy those things, right? And I think y'all have a really good picture of what are some needs, things that we like have to have, right? Versus wants, for sure. Y'all are already awesome at this. So learning about needs and wants and thinking to yourself, like, okay, is this a need or is this a want? That's really going to help us to determine our budget, right? So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this section here. There is something really cool that I'm going to teach you about called 50, 20, 30 rule. Okay. So first things first, in order to have like in order to know what you should spend, you've got to have self-discipline, right? You have to, it's really on you, right? When you have a bunch of money in your hand, you could spend it all at Starbucks, right? Or you could choose to put it away for a vacation next year, something like that, right? So you want to look towards the end goal and know your limits. And when you're receiving a paycheck, you want to determine how much money you can afford to take out, right? Keep in mind what you're saving for. So if you're saving for a vacation at the end of the year, maybe you want to like take that number that you need and divide it by how many times you're going to get paid, right? Or if you're saving for a PS5, right? You know it costs $500, probably going to be like maybe $1,000 because you got to buy it on eBay, right? You're going to save small portions of that until you can go there. I know I was talking to Stephanie, our TA, who made these amazing slides, and she was talking about her quince, right? And saving small amounts of money in order to be able to pay for her quince. So I thought that was really cool. So here is a good rule of thumb. It's called 50, 20, 30. So 50% needs. So 50% of your money is going to go to your needs, like your rent. We talked about all those things we need, your rent, your utilities, right? 20% goes to savings. So as soon as you pay for your needs, the very next thing you do is pay for your savings. Like put money in your savings account, pay yourself, right? Pay your future self. And then the last 30%, these are called like discretionary funds. These are your wants, 30% for wants, okay? So 50% for needs, 20% for savings, and 30% for wants. If you don't have anything else on your paper, I want you to make sure that you have this on your paper right here. 50% needs, 20% savings, 30% wants. right? And this, of course, is a goal, right? It's a goal. We're not necessarily going to get there every time. I know for me, I don't always get to my 20% savings, right? Sometimes I accidentally spend a little too much money, right? So like in December, I spent some money on Christmas presents, right? I didn't save 20% on Christmas presents, or like I didn't save 20% of my money during December, right? But in January, I was like, all right, that was fun, but I can't do that again, right? I got to save my money, right? And so then I jumped back in here. So it's not like you don't have to be like, oh man, it's over. Like my budget's gone, right? Your budget can start over every time, right? There's never a point where you can't save something. So that's good. 50% needs, 20% savings, 30% want. So you might be asking like, but like, Miss, how do I save, right? How do I do it? And there are so many ways you can save, y'all. So many ways. So the one way that I had like goes around on TikTok a lot is this like envelope way. And the envelope method is mostly for cash. So let's say you get paid, you cash it out, you get your paycheck, you get your $1,000. What happens is you have an envelope that says rent on it, right? An envelope that says rent, and you put some of your money in there, right? You have an envelope that says water bill, and you put some money in there. And you know how much your water bill probably is, so you can kind of guess how much money you need to put in your water bill. And then you have an envelope that says groceries, and you put money in for groceries. And you have an envelope that says like water bill or electricity bill, and you put that money in there, right? Gas, yes, absolutely, Gabby. You have your car payment, right? You put your car payment, you put that in there, and then you have a separate one for gas. So you take all of these envelopes, maybe 5, 6, maybe 10 envelopes if you have that many like mini budgets, and you divide your cash appropriately into each envelope, right? And that means that you're always going to have that money. You're going to have that money when it comes time to pay that bill, right? Because you're not going to touch the envelopes that aren't for you, right? If there's any money left over, it might go in a last envelope that's like your spending money, right? Maybe you have like a savings money, like a savings envelope, right? So that is a way to work with cash. For some people, they don't have cash. Y'all, I can't tell you the last time I had any cash, right? All of my money is electronic. I get paid, I get what's called a direct deposit, which means like my check goes straight into my bank account, right? And then I use my credit card and my debit card, right? And remember last week Tuesday we learned like a debit card, the money comes straight out of my account. My credit card, I pay that bill at the end of the month, right? So like, I don't budget and I don't have cash to put in envelopes. That's not how like my life works. That's nothing wrong with cash. That's just not how like my cash works, right? It's not how my money works. So since I have electronic cash, right, I need a budget in a different way. So you can keep track so I personally keep track on a Google Sheet. I have like all of my transactions that I download off of the computer. And I keep track like, okay, this is for gas, like this is how much I spent on gas this month. This is how much I spent on this thing. You can use an app. I use an app called Truebill, which is a very cool app. Truebill is an app that I use that like actually pulls in. Let me see if I can scramble this. Okay, this is not my real money. It's just showing you how it works. So this app like shows you how much money you've spent over time. And then I don't know if you can see it, there's like a dark line behind it. That is how much money I spent last month. So you can see the difference between where you are like today of this month and where you are today of last month. And it shows you like how much money, it lets you like set up budgets. Come on, little dude, you can do it. There we go. Nope, just kidding. It lets you set up little budgets that will let you say like, okay, I've spent almost all of my money that I had planned on spending for rent, right? Or I spent all of the money that I was going to spend here. So Truebill allows you to set up those like electronic envelopes essentially, right? So they're on an app, but you're still budgeting like how much money. So like right now, I know that I've spent my rent money for the month, right? I paid at the beginning of the month and like my rent money is gone, right? So you can kind of do that on a Google Sheet for yourself if you want, or you can do it on an app, right? Or some people use a piece of paper. That's pretty cool. So these are ways that you can budget, right? So budgeting is just setting up like categories for your spending. And then you also have saving, right? So there's budgeting as a part of that, and you want to save a section for savings. But then how you save might be kind of different. One way for me, when I get paid twice a month. When I get paid, the first thing that happens is some of my money gets immediately, like automatically transferred into another account, right? And that account, one account is for savings, and one account is for like a vacation fund. I really want to go on vacation, guys. So I like want to save some money for vacation. So they're called sub accounts. And I have two accounts that are like extra, right? So I have my like checking and my savings. Those are like your basic accounts. And then I have two sub accounts, one for my like deep savings and one for my vacation fund, right? So a little bit of my money every time I get paid goes into my vacation fund so that I don't have to pay for my vacation just like out of pocket, just like randomly have $1,000. That's not going to happen, right? So I save a little bit each time. Yeah, so I can go to Cancun. That sounds great. We can all go to Cancun together when all of this is over. So that's one method. And then there's also something called the piggy bank method. And Stephanie was mentioning this when she was talking about her quince, and she was saying like for almost a year before her quince, every time she had a $5 bill or a $10 bill or even a $1 bill, she just put it in a box, right? She has like a little Christmas box, right? When I was growing up, I had like a little I guess it was like a birthday box. I don't know. It's like this little box with a lid on it, right? Some people use like an actual piggy bank, like something they have to break open to get it out. Many of you probably have money this way. But the piggy bank method basically says like, okay, let's just put a little bit of our money in there every time so that when we're ready to use it, we have that money. Right? So we have budgeting and saving. Do y'all have any questions so far? You might have a plastic bag. Yeah, what kind? I'm sure lots of us have this piggy bank idea. Do we have any? What do we use for our piggy bank? You don't have to tell us where it is. I have little envelopes. Now I used to have a box, but now I have an envelope. It's in my, like in one of my clothes drawers. What? Don't steal my money. But what kind of things do you all use to hold any like extra money that you have? Anything? A makeup bag for sure. My parents have this huge Sunny D juice gallon and they fill it with coins. Yeah, that's a huge way of making money. I love it. Once when I was a few years ago, a friend of mine had been collecting coins for like 10 years and she had those Sunny D juice gallons. She had 6 of them and each gallon was almost $200 when she finished filling it up, which means we went to the coin store and she got like over $1,000. It was so much money. We were like, what? Crazy. An art box you could use, an actual piggy bank you could use for sure. You could use a juice container. Yeah, I didn't get any of that money, but she really she used it to buy a plane ticket. So it was awesome. Let's get some Sunny juice bottles. Yeah. I also have used like a mason jar in the past. You know those mason jars? Like they have like a little lid on them. They're really good for coins. For sure. That's the piggy bank method, right? And it's good. You can you'd be surprised how much coins will add up. They also get really heavy, just FYI. All right. So here, I want to do an example with us. Just so we can think about like what this looks like. So if you don't need to write this down. I just want us to like zoom in. You can like get ready to chat because I'm going to ask some questions. If you got a calculator, you can get it out. I make $42,000 a year. So that's about as much as I made when I got out of college. And my first teaching job, I made $42,000. So a pretty good job. I get paid twice a month, which is how many times would I get paid in a year if I get paid twice a month? Yes, 24 times. I get paid twice a month. So it's 42,000 over the whole year, but I get paychecks every other week, right? Twice a month, like on the 1st and the 15th. So I get paid 24 times. There's 12 months. I get paid at the beginning and the end of every, or beginning and the middle of every month. So I get paid 24 times a year. So 42,000 divided by each of those 24 paychecks. How much money am I going to get per paycheck? How much money? Yes, 1750. 1750. Right, so I did 42 divided by this. So on my paycheck, they're going to tell me that my gross pay is 1750, right? So that's how much my paycheck is going to say. However, I don't get all that money. It's a real big bummer. Not all of that money comes to me. Only about 70% of it comes to me. 30% comes out for taxes, for Social Security, for like other things. About 30% in California. It's a lot of money comes out. So if 30% is coming out, I have to calculate 30%, right? Roxana's already got it for me. I'm going to do 1750, my paycheck amount, times 0.3, 30%. Roxana's got me. It's $525. Woof. So $525 is coming out for taxes, Social Security, insurance, all of that money. So if I'm thinking about my paycheck after taxes, I had 1750. But now I got to take away the 525. And how much am I going to have? How much am I going to have there once I take away the 525? Yes, 1225. 1225. So that's how much actual money. So I'm getting $42,000 over the course of the year. I get paid twice a month, which means I should get 1750-ish. But after taxes and Social Security and insurance, let's not forget insurance, and insurance, my paycheck is only $1,200 every 2 weeks, right? So that really puts it in perspective, right? If you think about how much your rent is, if you know how much your parents pay for rent, right? Sometimes like this is not even enough to pay my rent, right? So I need to make more than 42,000 in order to pay my rent. I know, really crazy. So let's say now my paycheck is $1,225, right? $1,225. That's how much I get. How much of that should be spent on my needs? What percent should I spend on needs? Yeah, at this point, all of it, right? But what percent? What percent? 50%. Yeah, 50%. And 50%, remember, is 0.5. I'm going to multiply times 0.5. How much money would I save for my needs? How much money should I save for my needs? So we're going to do 125 times 0.5, and we get $612.50. So we're going to get here $612.50. I'm going to do the same thing this time, but instead my wants are 30%. Yep, my wants are 30%. So I'm going to multiply this times 0.3. Thanks, Shamaya, for sure. So $367.50. 367.50. That's times 0.3, right? That's my wants. And then what would I have for my savings? How much money would I try to save? 20%. Perfect. And that comes up to $245. That's how much I'm going to save. So I'm getting this amount of money, but I'm spending almost all of it on my needs and my wants. Almost all of it on my needs and my wants, right? So we're going to do one last part here. One last part. So my goal, right? That's my goal. Remember, I might not even be able to save this amount. My goal is to save $245 per paycheck, right? So $245. If I need to get up to like $5,000, maybe I want to buy a car, right? I need to have $5,000 to put down, right? How long will it take me? I'm going to do 5,000. I'm going to take that total amount. If I can save 245 every single time, how many paychecks is that going to be? So I'm going to do 5,000. 5,000 divided by 245. I get 20.4, right? 20.4. This paycheck right here, right? My computer's freaking out because we have our internet here. Sounds good, Miss Yama. So we have our paychecks 20.4. Because my Zoom is blowing up here, we are, I can't write on my screen anymore. I'm going to write in the chat. Here we go. Yay. 20.4, right? That is how many paychecks we need. We're really going to need 21 paychecks, right? Because 20.4, that's not going to be enough, right? 20.4. So we're going to need 21 paychecks. So I'm going to have 21 paychecks here. Nope, not going to let me do it. Sorry, y'all. 21 paychecks, and then we're going to do 21 divided by 2, and it's going to tell us it's going to take us 10.5 months to save $5,000, right? Whew, that is a lot, huh? That is a ton. All right. As you are going through today, as you're going through your task, you're going to have a similar situation, right? So you're an assistant manager. You're going to earn $37,000 a year. You get paid twice a month, right? And then you have your deductions are 30%. So you're going to be doing largely the same math that we were just doing, right? Remember, you have the slides to access. You're going to figure out like how much are you going to make each payday before taxes. And if you forgot or like you need to look back at the math, you can click this right here and we'll take you to that slide. Okay. You're going to figure out your take home pay. You're going to figure out how much you can save. And then down here, you're going to figure out how long it will take to save for this car here. Okay. So you're thinking through here. And then you're going to tell me just one thing you learned today. That's it. One thing you learned today. From there, you'll take your 4-question quiz, just 4 questions, and ask any additional questions that you have. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and actually, no, never mind. I'm going to go ahead and release you. Thank you for staying that extra 3 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to stick around and ask them. But I am happy to jump in here. Do y'all have any questions for me before you leave? Questions for me before you head out for task 2? All right. Okay, friends, you can head on out and I will see you next week. I'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.